A principle known as the mirror principle states that if you do not alter this, reality will never change. The mirror principle is one of the most powerful concepts of reality, and it has the potential to utterly and irrevocably alter the course of our life. There is no particular method or approach that needs to be implemented in order to accomplish this remarkable transformation. In relation to the kind of person you aspire to be, this principle is important. To give you an example, if you want to become a millionaire, the reality is that you must first become a millionaire on the inside before you can expect this to show out on the exterior. In that case, you will continue to move from one location to another, under the impression that the issue is the result of your own actions. Therefore, the first thing that you should take away from this principle is that if you do not change on the inside, nothing will change on the outside. The underlying essence of the mirror principle can be summed up as follows. You will be able to convert everything you touch into gold if you are able to master this principle. It is necessary for you to confront your own demons, your own reflection and words that you might not like. In order to do this, you should watch this video if you are truly prepared to make a huge difference in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll also share with you in this video an important exercise that I continue to perform to this day. Thanks for watching. This principle is going to be dissected today, and we are going to show you how it may genuinely alter the course of your life. Your relationship with yourself and the world, or with reality itself, includes both your inner world and your outer world. Reality is a mirror that reflects your interaction with both things. Can you please explain what I mean by that? As an illustration, let's take a look at the scenario of becoming a millionaire. The mirror of reality will tell you, oh, that's what you believe? So be it. If your relationship with money is that you are not capable of making money, or that you are not competent at making money, then the universe will tell you that this is the truth. This is another data that demonstrates why you are not capable of turning a profit. Furthermore, as a consequence of this, life will provide you with additional situations that validate both your hypothesis and the assertion that you are making. Therefore, I want you to keep this very important aspect in mind. The outward world is nothing more than a reflection that is generated by the picture, which is in essence another way of expressing that it is our internal reality. As we take a closer look at the world around us, it becomes abundantly evident that the majority of people are becoming more and more engulfed in the chaos of the outside world. They are engrossed in the commotion of everyday life, as well as the technology and social media that surrounds them. The connection that we once had with our inner wisdom and the inner essence that we once mastered has been severed for many of us. As a result, let's investigate the 4 keys that will make it possible for you to mold reality in accordance with your intentions. In the course of our study of the law of attraction, for instance, one of the things that is brought up the most frequently is the idea that reality is a mirror. What we are attempting to accomplish is to exert influence over that mirror. The first fundamental element to understanding the mirror principle is to realize that the mirror of reality reflects 2 things: your relationship with yourself and your relationship with the world around you. This is the first core premise of the mirror principle. So to put it another way, what you see when you look into the mirror of reality is a projection of how you perceive the world and how you perceive yourself. The mirror will merely reflect your perception that you are not good enough. If you look at yourself and think that you are not good enough, I do not meet the standards. Because I am not capable of doing this, I am unable to accomplish it. On the other hand, the mirror will tell you that you are not adequate. Another piece of evidence demonstrating why you are not adequate: in the reflection, the messages that you give to the mirror of reality are taken into consideration. There is a way to think of the mirror of reality as being comparable to a trustworthy companion who is always eager to validate what you believe. It is therefore necessary for us to acquire the ability to modify the image that we project in front of the mirror, rather than attempting to directly manipulate the image that is reflected. The act of exerting influence over another person is analogous to this. In the event that we tell someone, "Don't do that," there is a high probability that they will go ahead and carry out the action that has been prohibited. If, on the other hand, we opt to motivate and inspire the individual by offering convincing reasons to avoid certain choices and describing the potential bad repercussions, then the individual will feel more likely to listen to us and embrace our influence. Our objective is to exert an indirect influence on the world around us. In other words, the mirror of reality merely magnifies what you are saying. Everything that you believe to be true in your mind, whether it be about yourself, your identity, or your perspective on the world, will always be reflected in it. It is imperative that you keep in mind that this is one of the most important keys. The question that arises now is, how can we make this different? How are we going to break this cycle and make a conscious decision about what it is that we want? Your personal identity and viewpoint, as well as your paradigm, are things that you need to develop. In order to assist you in comprehending the process of cultivating your identity, I will present an example. In the first place, it is of the utmost importance to have a crystal clear understanding of what it is that you desire in the long run, for instance, in 10 years. When you look at the finished picture, what is an activity that you envision yourself engaging in on a daily basis? What are some of the things that you have that turn your life into an ongoing adventure of discovery? Also ask yourself, who am I being at this moment? In the process of accomplishing, possessing, and carrying out all of these things, what qualities and characteristics do I possess? This is very important. The following step is to think about your viewpoint. When you are fully immersed in this reality, how do you perceive the world around you? When you are going through all of this, how do you perceive the world around you? Allow yourself a brief moment to bring meaningful affirmations into reality. To begin, you should construct affirmations concerning your identity and how you perceive yourself. A phrase along the lines of "I am worthy" could be used. As a result of the fact that I possess the alchemist's touch within me, I am a magnet for abundance. Affirmations that are relevant to your perspective of the world should then be formulated. To give you an example, the entire world works to my advantage. At the precise moment and in accordance with the divine plan, everything appears to take place. Be prepared to experience a remarkable change as you commit to reciting these affirmations on a daily basis and allowing them to become ingrained in your mind. The reality that you see, as well as the way that you view the world, will start to shift right in front of your very eyes. Even though it may appear that you are having a tough time achieving what you want right now, this does not mean that you will not be able to accomplish it tomorrow. Everything requires patience, practice, and time to accomplish. You should therefore respect your time, but you should also not allow certain worries to prevent you from accomplishing great things. Please ensure that you give yourself a moment to complete this task. It has the potential to cause a complete and total transformation in your life. Now let's go on to the second key that we have. You have to realize that the mirror that we perceive in the tangible world is generated with a certain delay. This is something that you need to comprehend. How come? So here's why. We are able to instantaneously generate an image in our inner world by simply closing our eyes and envisioning what it is that we will bring into existence. With regard to this dimension, that is how it operates. On the other hand, due to the inert nature of matter, things take a time to appear in the third dimension, which is the physical dimension. However, because to the density of the substance, it is impossible to breach the laws of nature and make everything materialize quickly. Consequently, this gets us to the next key. In order for your wish to materialize, you need to maintain the conviction that you have developed for a sufficient amount of time. In what way does this imply? It means that you must continue to behave in a manner that is consistent with the identity and worldview that you have developed until your objective becomes clear. If you want to become anything, you should begin by taking on the persona of someone who already possesses that quality. Ask yourself how that person would behave, and then strive to maintain that identity for a sufficient amount of time. When individuals begin to experience this, an intriguing thing takes place inside of them. They are aware that their lives are full of both highs and lows. In the process of establishing a belief in an identity, they anticipate that their objective will be realized, but the reality does not materialize right away. Subsequently, their disposition starts to deteriorate in tandem with their conviction. At this point, when your disposition has reached its lowest point, the manifestation of it suddenly becomes readily apparent. On the other hand, once it becomes apparent, it starts to reflect the negative attitude you had previously had with a certain amount of delay. When this happens, the manifestations start to degenerate once more, because they are merely a reflection of how you are feeling. This results in the formation of a wave, which is a loop that transpires in your life, and you are unable to break free from it. You can't avoid experiencing highs and lows. They are an inevitable part of life, because this is the most successful technique to bring about big changes in your life. The most important thing is to always be faithful to the identity and worldview that you have formed, because it is the key. We are now going to move on to the second key, which is one that I have been practicing on a daily basis and which I believe has a tremendous impact on my life. It is essential that you comprehend that the mirror of reality does not reflect the nature of your thoughts, but rather the substance of your thoughts once they have been purified. In a moment, I will elaborate on what I mean. Give it some thought. If you continue to express unhappiness, but there is a content to your dissatisfaction, such as saying things like, "I hate my dead-end job, I hate my boss, I hate my partner, and I hate the bills I have to pay," then you are expressing your dissatisfaction. Your hatred is reflected in the mirror, but not the hatred itself. Rather, the mirror reflects the exact content of your hatred. Consider the fact that I despise the bills. As a direct consequence of this, you will receive additional bills. I truly despise my job, and there will be further circumstances that will make you even more dissatisfied with your career. This is the exact way that it takes place. The more you complain about things that you do not have and things that you do not want, the more this will continue to be reflected in your life, providing you with additional reasons to validate your worldview and identity. There is a fundamental distinction between a mentality of scarcity and an abundant mentality, and this is the key difference. Looking at the situation from a more optimistic perspective, rather than a pessimistic one, is the key to success. Putting this into practice in your life is a straightforward process. Put your attention on the things you already possess as well as the things you desire. In order to bring about any kind of change, you need to begin concentrating on what you already own at this very moment. Everything that you possess. All of the success that you have achieved. You have a wonderful family to look after. The things that you desire to have in your life. Just pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is it that I want? What would it be that would turn my existence into a genuine adventure of discovery? Would you like to see that? What does it feel like? It is possible for it to be a hazy image, so long as you are focused on what it is that you want. Additionally, when you do that, when you continue to concentrate on what it is that you want, the gap that exists between your current life and the one that you want to live starts to narrow. Because you begin to test the limits of your comfort zone, you begin to push yourself. That brings us to the third and last key. Now let's move on to the fourth, most important key. Not to be outdone, the mirror cycle comes in last. This will completely alter everything in the world. You will no longer be so uncertain about what you do if you discover how to influence this mirror cycle for yourself, because you will have gained the ability to do so. Right in front of your very eyes, you will see the transformation of reality. The first step is to make a simple observation. I'm curious to know what kind of a backward mindset you had in the past. Every single complaint, every single negative event that occurred in the past, and every single choice that was taken without conscious thought. Exactly, it is the current moment. As an example, when you look at the present moment and are confronted with certain circumstances, such as having bills to pay and working a job that you dislike, you take this into consideration and utilize it to shape your image or attitude. I mean the internal attitude, ideas, and sentiments that we present to the mirror when I say image. They are what we present to ourselves. When we create the image, the mirror is forced to reflect it, since it has no other option. As a result, it reflects and shapes reality in accordance with the image that it reflects. On the other hand, something that typically occurs is that the majority of people continue to look at their reflection and remain stuck in this cycle. The vast majority of people fall into this seductive trap at some point in their lives. They continue to observe and do not break out of that pattern. In the end, they are left with the thought, damn, this keeps happening over and over again. Goaro, what exactly am I doing wrong? I have no idea. After that, they experiment with a variety of methods and tactics. They experiment with marketing strategies. Despite their best efforts, they are unable to launch a new firm, as if it is effective for a period of time. It makes people feel energized. However, they return to that pattern for no other reason than the fact that they are unable to make a change within themselves. However, I want you to keep in mind something that is truly significant. This is due to the fact that there is no significant shift occurring in terms of global perspective or personal identity. Reversing this process is the way to go about accomplishing this goal. Observation is the first step for the majority of people, followed by the creation of the image, and finally the reflection. Within the realm of puppets, this is the typical cycle. On the other hand, if you want to become a co-creator, a genuine creator of your own world, you will need to turn this cycle around. Having gone through it myself for a significant number of years in my life, I am able to state this. Nevertheless, everything shifted once I had a complete comprehension of this cycle. In order to break this pattern, we must first begin with the sort of image that we would like to create. We ignore the opportunity for introspection because we are coming to the realization that the things that are around us today are nothing more than the result of decisions that were made in the past. We choose to ignore the reality that we are currently experiencing. In order for there to be any change, you need to understand this. If I want to have an impact on the future, I must purposefully choose today. We begin with the image, and when we select the image and say, hey, this is what I want and this is what I have, the mirror has no choice but to begin reflecting it in small increments, little by little. This is because the mirror has no other choice. Changes of any size will take time, even if they are very minor. What should we do after this? Here, rather than observing, we are confirming. After taking a look in the mirror to determine what is functioning, we think to ourselves, oh, that's working, when we see the reflection in the mirror. So that is what took place. Over time, you will find that people will begin to greet you better, which is a good sign if you want to increase your confidence. You will notice that things are becoming better, which is something you would want to happen if you wanted to improve any part of your profession or business. Even when everything in your world seems to be coming apart, you are only concentrating on the things that you want to be confirmed, the things that are in line with the worldview and identity that you have decided to design for yourself. According to the concept, you should never stop doing it, and the more you continue doing it, the more it will develop into something that is beyond anything you could have ever dreamed. If you begin to apply these ideas, you will experience a complete transformation in your life. Please, this is not a joke. The application of this is something that I tried and it was successful. Therefore, I am passing it on to you. When I first started out on my spiritual path, I thought it was a load of foolishness. But when I saw the effects, I came to realize that it was absolutely wild. I started to get things that I wanted, and they were much better than I had thought they would be. As we delve deeper into the mirror of reality, we come across an inner force that we frequently fail to recognize. Our views, our identities, and our perspectives on the world are all reflected in the things that we see around us. However, the key to transformation is that rather than simply watching reality, we must shape our destiny with the picture of who we want to be and what we want to do. This is the secret to transformation. During the process of generating this new image, the mirror of reality reacts by making subtle adjustments, gradually shifting before our very eyes. The reflection of reality is limitless in its scope. It is only responsive to the things that we show it. In the same way that the alchemist transforms lead into gold, we can transform our lives by adopting a mindset of plenty and concentrating on something that we already possess, as well as something that we desire. In the end, our voyage through the mirror of reality is a celebration of our capacity to create, to innovate, and to transcend. It is also a search for the truth that is within ourselves. It is my sincere wish that this information will serve as the guiding light that leads you through the journey of life, assisting you in making the dreams you have turned into reality. I am grateful that you have chosen to begin this adventure with me. I would appreciate it if you would give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if it struck a chord with you. If you want other people to benefit from this message, you should share this video with them. In addition, don't forget to share your views, reflections, and experiences by leaving a comment below. Once again, I appreciate you watching and coming to be with me. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon.